How do people raise their hands in
training.
live chat?
Hey, look,
They have
like
to be,
like
no, they have to be here.
three. Let's count down. So it'd say like 5, 4, 3,
Sydney,
2,
Yes, 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 yes.
1.
Sydney, if you
Live.
know,
Yes.
if you have a
So
question in the live chat, can you
They can,
tag me,
right.
tag you?
So now we're
yeah, yeah,
streaming.
they can do, they can tag
Yeah, now
by,
we're streaming.
Yeah.
they can tag.
Any questions? Please tag Sidney
One
Winston. If you
live.
Yes.
don't, if you have a
So
question in the
no, he's
live
talking
chat,
about the raise the hand in the discussion
No,
or our
in the live
conversation.
chat, all they can do is type their question.
yeah, okay, fine.
All right. So I propose, here's my proposal. My proposal is this: Jesus is a myth. Prove me wrong. All gods, all gods are imaginary. Prove me wrong. Anybody want to take me on that?
Well, you'd have to prove that Jesus did not exist in history.
Well, how do you do that? Okay, let's go to history and find where Jesus appears in history.
There's multiple attestations.
No, I know, but attestation is not. I'm talking about like first, um, first-hand account is acceptable. Would you say, or would you not say? A first-hand account of events is probably the most acceptable.
Well, first of all, do you regard the Gospels as history?
No,
You don't.
the Gospels are regarded as pure fiction
Why? Why?
because they appear to be pure fiction, and there's nothing to refute the appearance of the Gospels as pure fiction.
Well, if the Synoptic Gospels has a central message and a central tenet, right? Why wouldn't you accept that as an existence of a Jesus?
Because there's no connection between
Do you know what the synoptic? Do you know what the Synoptic Gospels are?
there's no connection between a tenet and
Do you
a
know what
person.
do you know
I'm
what?
answering your question, sir.
No, but I want to make sure you know
I
what.
don't, you don't, listen, you're not my teacher. You're just asking me a question.
Okay.
And the answer to my question is the tenet of any gospel or even the collection of gospels has got nothing to do with the existence of somebody who did several things that are impossible, like walk on water, like be conceived or be the child of a immaculate conception, a virgin birth, or healing people of leprosy at the touch of a hand, having people be cured of blindness at the touch of a hand, being crucified and then dying,
Sidney, you're
and
rambling.
then
You're rambling.
resurrected out of death
Sidney, you're rambling. You already lost the debate.
into eternal life.
You already lost the debate. You're rambling.
Did you raise your hand?
What?
Did you raise your hand?
We are not on that air.
Yes,
right now.
we are. Yes,
We're
if
not.
you want
Yeah,
to,
we're
if
streaming,
you want to
man.
talk to me, raise your hand so I know to stop talking. If you're talking while I'm talking,
Okay, fine. There.
okay, I recognize Charioteer. What do you have to say, sir?
Do you know what the Synoptic Gospel? What does the Synoptic Gospel mean to you? Synoptic Gospels. What do they mean to you?
Matthew, Mark, and Luke.
Yeah. What does that? What does synoptic mean?
Means that they share the same origin.
No, that means that they are seen together.
And the difference between what you say and what I say is.
Wait, so you have the word that says seen.
It doesn't matter.
Seen,
All those
they
books.
They are synchronized together, Sidney. John's Gospel doesn't matter. You have the Synoptic Gospels.
Hey,
they
hold on a
corroborate
second.
with each other.
Somebody says they can't hear you.
You have 3 attested accounts, Sidney.
Hold on.
Sorry. I'm
Oh,
just being devil.
I understand, but we've just got to
man.
stop because somebody says the chat is saying they can't hear you. Henry Hansen says they can't hear either you or me. I'm not sure. Who? Henry who? Who? Henry who? Who? Henry who? I cranked up the volume. And now you can hear Henry? I hope you can.
Who's Henry not hearing?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure this out.
He says Sid is a lot louder.
Oh, okay. I cranked up the volume. City's a lot louder. How can that be? That doesn't make sense. Because I hear him perfectly. I hear Iron perfectly.
I'm not muted.
I am very loud. Oh, I am very loud. Sorry. I tell you what. Let me see if I can do anything about that. I am very loud. Equalize. Yes, sir. Equalize. Well, let me turn down the gain. I had the gain down a higher level. Is that better? I've just turned down the gain that I had on my mic because I thought
Henry says I hear him now.
he is, what about me? Probably I'm hold on, maybe I can just do it this way. No, that's not good. Okay, now you messed me up there, Henry. All right, I need to be heard. So, can I be heard at this decibel, at 6 decibel? Mine, 6 decibels. How's that? Can you guys hear me? Hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm trying to ask the crowd. Anyway, I'm going to assume they can hear me until I hear otherwise. I need to turn the volume up. My volume? If I need to turn my volume up, I can do that. Not a problem.
Does he mean the volume of the whole stream?
The volume of the whole stream. No, the volume of the whole stream it's fine. I can see the audio mixer myself. But I'm talking about me. I think he's talking about
He
me.
said yes, the volume of the whole stream.
No, I asked him if I'm okay now. It's 6 decibels, and he said yes. How about 7 decibels? There we go. I'm at 8.6 decibels. I'm going to leave it there for now. And tell us if if it's still me or if it's also Iron and Tom.
I hear you
Henry
fine.
says it's better.
I haven't been able to hear any difference.
No, I mean neither.
Whatsoever.
I hear you both fine too.
I haven't told.
There you go. I hear some feedback. So I heard your feedback there, Aaron. Thank you.
Okay, it's better now.
All right, good. All right, thank you, Henry. Really appreciate it. In fact, I don't know why I'm leaving these guys out of the fun. So, you vehemently disagree with me, I see, Iron, that Jesus is a mythical figure.
No, I'm just presenting some opposition to your arguments.
I understand, but you present something that's coherent.
I am presenting opposition to your arguments where that most apologists will present to you.
Well, then
and if you're not prepared to answer those oppositions or the objections,
present it.
Then you are screwed.
Go ahead, present.
So I'm saying that if you're talking about the Synoptic Gospels, that means that synoptic means that they are seen together. They are syncopated with each other. They are in sync with each other, right?
Fair enough. Yeah, so
that means John, the Gospel of John might not be syncopated with the rest of the other Gospels, but the other Gospels seem to be syncopated. They seem to have some kind of message, some kind of central message, right?
No, wrong.
So how do you counter that?
I'll explain to you. The synoptic gospels essentially are Mark, and then Matthew and Luke copy from Mark. That's essentially and Q, and
That's
maybe
what it means to be syncopated.
no, because Mark is written first, and 10, 20 years later, Matthew and Luke turn up with the same story.
That's what synoptic gospels mean.
It means they copied. They're not. They are
Doesn't
not.
mean they copied. It means that
They are not
they
produced.
pass the story along.
If you're going to interrupt me every single time I open my mouth, then this is useless.
Okay, I'm just saying that I'm just presenting a rebuttal to your argument.
You're not
Sidney.
presenting a rebuttal. You don't give me time to even complete my statement before you present a rebuttal.
Okay, fine.
So
Go ahead.
I would like a little bit of respect from you.
Okay, fine. Go ahead.
You know, this is racism. What you present, what you
What?
this is racist.
Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, you're a colored, and I'm a white, and now you think you think you're superior to me.
Get the hell out of here. Okay, go ahead. Present your freaking stupid evidence.
No, Tom, help me out here. Take this man to town. To tax.
Yeah, when you said Jesus, I kind of glazed over, man. I presume it's all bullshit.
Yeah, you must.
So you don't think Jesus was historical?
Which one?
Ooh,
What do you mean, which one?
Good question. Damn.
Well,
Good question.
there's a lot of them recorded in history.
Which one?
Jesus of Nazareth.
There was no Jesus of Nazareth.
What about the Jesus of Judea?
Judea.
Was he
Yes. What about Jesus of Hebron?
What Judea is a country. It's
What
not a
about
freaking-
Jesus of Bethlehem?
Jesus was born in Bethlehem.
What
but he
about
lived in
Jesus?
Nazareth.
Jesus of
There's a lot of
Tiberias.
Jesus, man.
Jesus of
That was
Tiberias.
that was a very popular name, dude.
What about
I know it was a popular name, but you said that you know what Jesus came from. Can you tell me where
No, I
Jesus
did
came
not. I said, what about that one? I don't even know if there was one. But I
from?
just
How many
made it
Jesus? So how many Jesuses were there, Tom?
What about
up. Hell, I don't know.
Jesus from
I
Tel
know,
HaShomer?
well, look, I know there was like
Jesus
about
from Haifa.
two or I know that there was about 3 tribes
What about
that
Jesus
were in
from West
resistance.
Jerusalem and the other Jesus from North
Sidney,
Jerusalem?
There
can you
were-
let Tom finish, please?
that were
Yes,
in
sorry.
resistance against
Interrupting
Rome, and he didn't even raise his hand. But anyway,
Okay,
Mr.
I just
Hand,
wanted to, that was my point. If you want to talk, raise a hand and then you won't be interrupted as rudely as I was interrupting you.
okay. Well, there. My understanding is just off my top of my head is there were like 3 like dominant tribes or regions in Judea and resisting Rome, and one persevered over the others, and there was this Jesus figure in all of them, and I thought the one that resisted the most was Judea. Maybe that was where the zealots came
Okay,
from.
Tom.
I'm not really sure.
Okay, Tom.
Uh,
Can you give me some of the dates? Can you give me some of the dates of these different Jesuses that you're mentioning?
That would have been around like 100 BCE, I guess.
And which Jesus was that?
Man, I'm not going to do the research right now. I watched a
You
documentary
just made a
about
claim
it.
that you said that Jesus was 100 BCE.
I said I'm guessing off the top of my head around that time.
So, but the our Jesus, the regular Jesus, was AD 30, like CE 30, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
if
So
you say
which-
so, I don't really know.
So how many Jesus were there in history, Tom?
I saw a documentary that there were multiple. They documented multiple Jesuses.
What are the names of these Jesuses? Were they all named the same, Jesus Christ?
I don't know.
Was the Jesus that you mentioned in 100 CE, was he called Jesus Christ or not?
I don't remember, honestly.
Was it
And
Jesus? Tom, I'm just playing with you, okay? Don't take it
come
seriously.
on.
I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm trying
I,
to.
I get you, but I don't know.
I am.
And honestly, any historian that claims to know is really full of shit too, probably.
I can tell you. You are right, Tom. There was a Jesus in 100 to 120 BCE. There was a Jesus. Do you know what that Jesus' name was?
Who?
It wasn't Jesus. It was Judas. No, it was Judas Maccabees. That's not Jesus. That's right. But he was considered no. Yeah, but he was considered the Messiah. Yes. This is what I'm getting to. Tom, I agree with you. You're right, actually, when you say that there was a Messiah in 100 BCE, or maybe I would say probably 140 to 160 BCE, and this guy was called Judas Maccabees, and he raised what's called the Maccabean revolt.
Yeah, I'm well familiar with that because
The Maccabean revolt brought on Herod, the King Herod's. Okay. No, no, no. You talk. No, sorry, Sidney, you're wrong. You're talking about Simon Bar Kokhba. That's another revolt. Go back further back, man.
he
Yeah. So what happened in 140 or 160 BCE? You had the Judas Maccabee revolt, right? This was the destruction of. I'm not sure if it was the destruction of the first temple. I think it was, but then they destroyed the first temple, but then they rebuilt the temple, and that's how they came to the second temple, which was
Whoops, I
destroyed in
was
AD
muted,
7.
guys. Sorry.
Huh?
Tom has his hand raised. Tom would like
Okay,
something.
go ahead, Tom. Sorry.
okay. I'm well familiar with this incident because I involved in hacktivism, and that's when the Maccabees changed the physical sign of the covenant. They that's when Hellenism was spreading from Greece to Judea, and the young men wanting to be involved in the more liberal, free thinking Greek society in order to be accepted in the gymnasium
That's
extended their
right.
foreskin, their remaining
That is
foreskin.
that is fucking amazing, Tom. That's great.
And
Yes.
what happened was the Maccabean rabbinical revenge was to do a complete ablation of all the mucosal membrane so that they would not be able to stretch the remaining foreskin and cover their glands and not be known as marked as a Jew. They changed it.
That's right.
Then the covenant.
That's right. That's right. Circumcision became a big thing during the Maccabean revolt because of a covenant.
Yeah, they actually put men to death.
Well,
They
and you know
rounded
that
all the men up. They rounded all the liberal men up that had. This is basically these Maccabees were the Jewish Taliban. They were the equivalent of the Taliban today.
yes,
Just like ISIS, when they went into Mosul, the first thing they did was they round up all the Assyrian men and they circumcised them publicly.
actually,
It's the
you know what
same
you know what
thing.
they were called? They were called the Sakai. You know what the Sakai is?
I don't know what was that.
The Sakai were these Jewish guys that went around with daggers in their holsters, right? and they went around killing or circumcising people on the spot, and also killing people that didn't want to convert to Judaism.
Where the hell was this?
This look up what's called a
No, no, no,
Saqqara.
no, no, fuck you. Tell me where the hell this was.
I'm-
Hello,
I'm-
hello,
this-
algorithm. Welcome.
Listen, Sidney, this was the Jewish sect. This is
Where?
Where? This is during the Maccabees and ongoing until 8030s, past the 8030s when Jesus Christ was fucking
But
crucified
where
or whatever.
was this in all in
and
Judea?
even until the fucking 8070s. You had multiple sects of the Jews. You had the Zealots, you had the Ebionites, you had the Saqqari, and you had some other sect. I can't remember the name of it right now. But you have multiple sects of Jews. The Saqqari was the most violent.
You still have
part
multiple
of
sects
the-
of Jews. You've got Catholics, you got Protestants, you got Methodists, you got Mormons.
Catholics are not Jews. The fuck are you talking about?
It's all based in Judaism.
Well, but listen, but
Exactly.
the Saqqari was the militant form of the Judaism's of Judaism. They were the militant form of it. And Thomas is actually right. They were like the what do you call it? The Mujahideen of Islam. Is that right, Thomas? Is that what you
Yeah.
said? Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the Saqqari.
What? So what though? Sorry, but
This is what
I'm
I'm saying.
not,
that
I'm not
every-
understanding what your point is.
My point is that every religion in history had certain kinds of sects. They had a political
Yeah.
sect, they had a sociological sect, they had a religious sect, and they had a militant sect.
Yeah,
right?
most of them are violent as fuck. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, no, if you look at every religion in history, they had these. Even if you go back to Sumerian and Akkadian religions, they had these certain sects. They always had a militant sect, right? And today's militant sect in today's religions are the extremists, the Mujahideens and the Islamic extremists, and even I would
and
dare to say
and the Christians and
I would say the
everybody else,
Christian
yeah.
extremists as well.
Yeah,
Exactly.
there are. Yeah.
I would classify Christian extremists as terrorists. I would
Yeah,
definitely.
Or religion is poison, I guess.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying that all through history, you had these different sects going on, and these sects were going on with each other and fighting amongst each other and trying to maintain dominance with each other, and ultimately.
They are to this day. Yeah.
Yeah, ultimately, when it came to Constantinople and the conglomeration of these empires, that's where actually human secularism came about, because these people said that why do we need all this bloodshed and these fucking different sects in this shit? Let's just unify everything and come up with a central doctrine. And unfortunately, that was Christianity.
Well, and then it split into 3,000 other doctrines.
Yeah,
sects.
exactly.
So it didn't work, obviously.
So you never win, right?
Yeah. You can win by getting rid of it all.
With human sociology,
Sure.
you never win, because there's always going to be these sects that split off, that because of human evolution or human psychology or whatever you want to call it. There's always going to be these militants, these zealots, or the orthodoxy, and the other sects that are going to split off. The independents, they're going to split off, right?
I call it childhood indoctrination of ghost stories, but sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I think that if you look at history, you look at the Maccabean revolt, going back to Tom, right? You see the Maccabean revolt. You had the zealots, you had your militants, you had your other sects of Judaism, and then when it came to 80-30, this is why I think that there's big evidence that Jesus was most likely a myth. Because in 80-30, I think the Jews invented a Messiah. Because it was 70.
Somebody, yeah, it's just kind of a sequel to the Old Testament, right?
Well, yeah, because they invented a Messiah because the Jews love the number 70. They invented a Messiah after the Maccabean revolt to coincide with 80-30, right?
Yeah, I suspect the
So if you-
stories evolved from more than one place, though, because like there's a lot of Old Testament prophecies and other Levant things going. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not a historian, but it seems that there's a whole bunch of things that all just sort of like came together, and then that's what they put in the books. I doubt if it was really a really conscious, deliberate single act to create any of it. I think it's just stories that evolved in the desert, and here's a version, and it got retold and coalesced with another version, and somebody wanted some of the prophecies to come true, so they wrote a sermon about it, and that became truth. I mean, just imagine somebody 100 years from now taking Ken Hovind's made up stories about college professors, and then suddenly it become mythological, part of mythology. And
You're exactly right.
I mean, and then wrote it down, and that's the Gospel of Kent. Like,
yeah, but
I
look,
kind of
but
see
look
the
at it.
Gospels the same way, right? They're just stories that somebody eventually wrote down, but they're all just
Yeah.
that.
But look at Jewish history. You had the Maccabean revolt, and then you had the Jesus coming in, and supposedly there was some kind of revolt in AD 30 when Jesus died, supposedly. But then the real revolt was actually in AD 70 when the second temple was destroyed in AD 70, right?
They were probably desperate for a savior, right? Like, because just
Oh,
of all the war and everything else going on.
So then what the Jews did is said, okay, our second temple got destroyed. We're going to create another prophecy, and we're going to name this guy Simon Bar Kokhba, which comes in fucking AD 130 or something like that, like maybe even later. I'm not sure.
Yeah, take your word for it.
But Simon Bar Kokhba comes, and he's actually declared as a Messiah, the savior of the Jews, or the savior of the world, right? So, I mean, there's a chronological order based on the number 70 and 40, which is this is what I don't know. I want your feedback on this. Maybe don't regard the number 70 and 40, but just talk about the history, the actual history of the events, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
I don't know enough about it to really comment, other than, I mean, if that's true, like I said, I imagine that's just only one contributing story or event to the whole mythology. Like, I don't think, I find it hard to believe at that time and age that it was just one thing and one creation that led to it. Which is why there's different versions, like, the in the Gospels, what happened to Jesus after he was born. One story has him going to Nazareth and one has him going to Egypt. Well, which is it?
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's just two different stories that don't match, that they just included both for some reason.
That's really weird. You know why I think I have two arguments. I'm actually torn between historicity and mythology, because my mythological argument is that if you look at the actual etymology of the word Jesus and Christ, the two words, Jesus is a common name in Judea, and Jesus is derived from Yeshua, and obviously Yeshua goes back to Joshua, which is actually the savior or anointed one of Israel, right? And the anointed one is always called a savior, right?
Which
so
is
now
what
you
Christ
have Jesus.
means. Christ is just a title. Yeah.
Yeah. So now you have Jesus as a savior. Now, if you translate the savior into Greek, right? Greek calls Christos, which is anointed one, anointed with oil, is called Christos, right? So now you have a name called Savior, or Savior. Jesus Christ, the Anointed One, or Christos, the Anointed One, is a Savior. So why would people believe that Jesus Christ is actually a name of a person that actually existed, when it actually means savior? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so many of these things.
It's a title. It's
ultimately
two titles, right?
Yeah, I think just much of it is ambiguous, right? Like, was there an actual Joshua? Maybe. Why was nothing written about him? Why are the stories all so contradictory? Was it mythologized? Was it just Paul having his visions and making it up? Because there's no stories, there's no contemporaries writing about, I met this Jesus guy. Nothing. He had no writings himself. So and most of the evidence I've ever heard, like listening to the Godless Engineer and you know, what's his name that wrote a History of the City of Jesus, Carrier. I mean, even they say, I mean, most of the stuff is just ambiguous. It could go either way. So to me, the jury's out unless we have something else. I don't think we could ever really say if he was real or not. And you know, to the whole religion, actually, or to me
I
anyway.
say,
I actually don't really even care that much. But
I say, if you
it's-
don't have any conclusive evidence, you have no evidence. Done.
Well, the
yeah, I
thing
think
is,
that's a reasonable position to take. Like without a real strong positive claim, you know, you default to a myth. And if somebody put a gun to my head, if I was in the U.S. and that actually happens, I'd probably say my gut feel is that he's a myth, but it's just not supportable.
Well,
right?
if you
Yeah.
can prove your deity inductively, and you can only do it deductively, then you can prove your deity.
He's the foundation of all that's possible and impossible. What don't you get about it?
but if you look at the Tacitus's writings, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't mention anything about Jesus. He only mentions the word Christos, right?
Well, even Josephus. I mean, they're writing about Christianity, and I
They're
don't
all
think anyone
writing
ever
about
doubted
exactly.
that
They're writing about
Christianity
stuff
existed.
that's just rumors floating in the air
Yeah.
50, 60, 70, 100 years later, whatever.
But if you
No
look at
one,
the word,
doubted the existence of Christians. Like that those aren't Christians aren't myths.
No,
They existed.
Christians were Jews.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah.
very little difference between
well,
Christians and
Christians were
Jews for a long time.
uncircumcised Jews.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, you could say that.
Explain
they-
though
and-
then that so many Christians actually do that now though?
Here's a fact. Christianity was very unpopular. Sorry, should I say, Christianity was very popular, but very few people would join the Christian clubs because of the insistence of the Christians that the members be circumcised. Once that was removed, Christianity ballooned, mushroomed.
Yes. Yeah, you're actually right. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you know
Well,
who,
Plus, when it became institutionalized, and if you weren't Christian, you were killed.
Well, no,
That
but you
helps
know who
too.
discussed who actually got rid of the circumcision laws was Paul when he went to talk to James
There
and
you
Peter.
go. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Paul went to
Because they
James
realized it was a ridiculous thing to ask of people, so they
Yeah.
got rid of it.
Yeah, so Paul went to James and Peter, which were actually Jews. These are two Jews, right? Which
Mhm.
believe in circumcision.
Well,
So
Paul
Paul-
was a
They
Jew.
were all Jews back then.
Paul
Yeah.
was a Jew.
Paul
Yeah,
was a
Paul was
Jew,
a
but then Paul was actually part of Rome. He actually worked for the Romans as well, right? So said
He was
in
a
order to
Roman.
be-
Paul was a Roman citizen.
yeah.
So what do you
in
mean he
order to
worked for
appeal
the
to the
Romans?
masses, in
I'm
order to
not a
appeal
Roman. I'm not a Roman.
yeah. Well, in order to appeal to the masses, Paul went to Peter and James and said, "Listen, do you give me permission where I can I can actually indoctrinate people into the Jewish religion, but they don't have to be circumcised and eat kosher food?" And James and Peter said, "Yeah, that's okay. Go ahead."
Yeah, ka-ching.
Just don't
Yeah.
butt fuck another guy.
And Paul said, "Oh fuck, I have the permission of the Almighty to go ahead and indoctrinate people where they don't have to get circumcised. I'm gonna go full steam ahead."
And if you do get circumcised, don't stick it into another man's butt.
Huh?
No, love thy neighbor unless you like butt stuff, then kill them. I always wonder, like, how different our world would be if Paul didn't write anything or he didn't have his hallucination. Because really Christianity I don't know if it ever would have gone anywhere without the writings of Paul. So really,
something would have
Yeah.
gotten somebody who might have not.
Yeah.
Listen, if it wasn't this Christianity, it would have been another Christianity because, or another thing, because
it wouldn't have gone away.
it's
but
just
it wouldn't be-
something.
It wouldn't be Christianity, right?
No, it wouldn't be Christianity, but it would be some sort of deified being that people revere and worship and have an organized, institutionalized religion around it.
It's just
But
it's a question of which one wins out, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
that's what happened with Christianity.
That's what
Once the
happened with
Romans-
Christianity, exactly.
Once the
Yeah,
Romans
but-
said it's the law, then
Yeah.
that's it, game over.
Do you want to know where Paul got his doctrine from? Like when it comes to seeing visions in the sky of the Savior and Jesus and, He got
Visions in Scripture, yeah,
of
that's all he had.
angels. Because Paul loved writing about angels, right? He loved writing about angels and stuff like that. You know where he got his doctrine from? He got it from an Egyptian called Philo of Alexandria. Philo of Alexandria wrote multiple documents on an angel called Jesus, or an angel called Metatron, that has a communication between God and man, right?
Well, even the Garden of Eden story is loosely, not based on, but very, very similar to other stories that even have serpents and trees in them, right?
Yes, yes, that's right.
The
That's
whole
actually
region
based
was
on.
seeped in these things, so it's no wonder. Like, it sounds very much like Paul has some really serious mental
Yes,
problems.
and think about it this way: like
so
Philo of
imagining things
Alexandria.
like that was not a big stretch when that was just all those dying and rising gods and everything were just seeped into the culture of the
Yeah,
whole region. So
that's right.
fantasizing and hallucinating about one is pretty simple,
That's
I would
right.
think.
And Paul of Alexandria and Paul and Philo of Alexandria were actually contemporaries. They lived together. They actually knew each other. I'm sure they actually met at one point. And Paul said to Philo, "Listen, I love your writings. Can I use this sometime? Can I use this to create a doctrine of my own? Where Jesus, where this angel, this archangel Metatron, is a communication between God and man." So for Paul ran with this. He said, "Okay, listen, I want to call this angel Jesus, because what does Jesus mean? Jesus means the Savior, right?"
Yeah. I mean, they probably hung out at the same circumcision parlor, but I mean, Paul's Jesus, I mean, you could interpret it that he was never on earth. He was only ever a celestial figure.
That's what Richard
Yeah.
Carrier says, right?
Yeah, that's one interpretation, but again, it's hard to know.
That's one
Really
interpretation.
delve
So
into
how
it.
many other interpretations have you heard?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's my point about even Jesus existing.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't think when you look at the Bible and like they're just, those, I don't know about poorly written, but it's so brief and it's so mythologized and it's so much of it is theology and how much of it is, poetry and everything else like that. I don't think we could ever
Well, let me
really
ask you
know.
something. How much of the New Testament is actually original?
How much of the New Testament
Yeah,
is
in other
actually
words, how
original?
much of it is not drawn on historical mythology?
Well, actually, if you look at the Acts and Luke and Acts, right? There's a doctor called Dr. Dennis R. MacDonald, right? He has this what's called mimesis hypothesis, right? And he actually compared verses from the Greek text. What is the Greek text called? The Homer and the Iliad and Euripides Bacchae, right? And he compared the text from that and Luke and Acts in the Bible, and they match like one for one.
There you
It's
go.
fucking crazy. Like, so I'm saying that the Bible actually borrowed from some of the Greek mythology.
Uh-huh.
That's
Or
what
that
he is saying.
mythology, like I said, I think that mythology was just so ingrained in the culture. Like, it wouldn't even have to be copied. It's just like the kind of stuff that everybody's familiar with.
Well,
Like,
especially if you have
dying and
Paul
rising
there.
gods were all over the place. So coming up with a new one is no big stretch.
Yeah, I mean, and if you look at Paul was a Hellenized Jew, right? He was a Roman and a Jewish person, so he actually, wanted to satisfy both parties, the Jews and the Romans, right?
Yeah, it's hard to know what his motivation really was, actually. I mean, again,
Yeah.
these are the things we'll probably never know in history.
I mean, I
Like,
think
what was he thinking? Did he know it was all bullshit, or did he think it's true, or was he just, crazy? I have no idea.
Well, I think Paul thought it was true because he had a vision, and supposedly he had a vision, but I think it most likely was some kind of epileptic seizure or something, right? So some of the mythicists are right. They might be right when it comes to that. And just like when Constantine had the vision of the cross in the sky, and it said, "In this sign conquer," right? Like, what is that all about? Like, did that
Well,
really happen?
if someone tomorrow said they have happened what Paul said happened to him, they'd probably put him in a hospital, right? So
Yeah. But But I mean,
Like people claim they see Jesus all the time. No one ever takes them seriously. They take them as seriously as the people that say they see Elvis,
Yeah.
right?
So
So
what
why is Paul special?
yeah. So what I think is that what Paul did is that he actually used Philo's narrative of this communicator between God and man called Jesus or Metatron or Archangel, right? And he saw
Sounds
this
so much
vision.
like a Transformer character, but yeah.
Yeah, and he saw this vision of an archangel or Jesus, and he called this archangel Jesus, based on the most popular names in Judea, or relating back to Yeshua and Yahweh or whatever, the Savior, and he ran with it. He just went all crazy with it.
I
Right?
guess the question, like, to me is why? Like, what was his motivation? And that's probably what we'll never learn, right? Because just unless there's other writings that we uncover at some point. But
Yeah, but think about this. Paul was a Jew, right?
Yep.
So he had lots of motivation because he was born in between Rome and Judea. He was born in Turkey, actually, Tarsus, right? So if you look at that geographical area, it's smack dab in the middle between Rome and Jerusalem or Judea, smack dab in the middle, right? So he was actually physically and literally torn between two worlds. So imagine that if you lived in you were a U.S. citizen, right? But you also had
God.
a Canadian citizen, right? Who would you be loyal to? If the shit comes to the wire,
the Queen.
would you
obviously.
be loyal to Canada or would you be loyal to the U.S.?
Well, neither, because I don't live in either of them. But
Well, look at Julian Assange, right? Who is he loyal to?
himself mostly, I would imagine. But
But he's being extradited, and I think the U.S. dropped the extradition or whatever. But I'm not sure
No,
what's going
they
on.
did not.
no.
Huh?
I think they give him the right to challenge it, and that's about it. But frankly,
Yeah.
Australia should just bring him home and tell everyone to fuck off. As far as
Australia is behaving
Horribly.
horribly.
Yeah, absolutely disgraceful.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I think. Well, not exactly, but this is what I think that what happened with Paul, because it was he was torn between his patriotism, between these two the East and the West.
Paul was a
Yeah.
nutcase. He was paranoid. He wasn't sane. He wasn't fit to lead.
And probably had to like keep his story up, or somebody.
No,
would have
you
killed
can't.
him
No, you
too,
can't.
right?
You can't say that. Paul was very educated.
I didn't say he
He was a
wasn't.
very
I didn't say he
educated person.
wasn't.
He didn't say uneducated.
I didn't say he wasn't educated. I said he wasn't
Yeah.
fit to lead. I said he was nuts.
Well, how do you describe the scene in Josephus when Josephus describes Paul going into what was it, Josephus or Paul? I'm not sure.
What year was this written?
Well, Josephus.
No, what year? What year did or whoever you're quoting? What year was that written?
Look up the antiquities of the
What?
Jews.
Why should I? I'm asking you the question. You brought it
It was
up.
about before Josephus
Roughly.
died, about 90 CE.
Josephus died in 90.
No, Josephus died in 98, 99.
And how old was he? Was he like 98 years old?
No, he was born in AD 37. So what was his age?
So after Jesus was supposedly killed.
So
right?
he was
Yes.
born.
Like,
He was born after Jesus was the alleged Jesus, the mythical Jesus was not killed.
Yeah, but he was a historian.
So
I don't care.
you think historians were very rigorous?
What year
back
were
then?
you
I think he
born?
just
What year were you born in?
Josephus was very
Iron?
rigorous.
Were you born in 1960? If you were born in 1960, could you be a historian for what happened in 1940 without having any contact with anybody from 1940? No.
You don't understand. If
No, but-
Josephus was born in 37, do you think he knew about Jesus' death in AD 30?
sure from reading
Of
other
course,
theology,
rumors,
Yeah.
folklore.
well, and he had a lot of records.
And maybe he
stuff
went to
like that,
Wikipedia, which you know is full of lies.
But this is
Well, that's the
besides
thing,
the
like,
point.
with all those historical records that he and Tacitus and all those other people were going by, the idea that they were actually like rigorous historical documents and not completely immersed in the mythology and theology of the time. Like they didn't, I think we can't assume that they wrote history with the same purpose that we think of history. I think it was just, they were writing stories and things like that to explain history more than document history. And I don't think you could really take, even though he may have been rigorous in interpreting those stories, I just think the source material is so much different than anything we would call history to base it on.
Have you?
Like, I don't think you can trust it.
Yeah, I
Have
agree.
you read Josephus?
I've read bits and pieces that people
my
always bring
God.
up. I can't say
This
I've read
guy
it.
is so meticulous in his writing.
Sure,
you
but it
know-
doesn't mean he's right.
No, but you know,
I can make up all kinds of shit and be really meticulous about it.
do you know how this? How did
Exactly,
Josephus
exactly.
gets? Because Josephus was a Jew, so when he wrote his novel, how did he get saved by the Romans? Because
By
what
chopping his
happens
dick off, isn't it? Isn't that how you get saved?
what?
Josephus
Chopping
was a
chopping the end of his
Josephus
dick
was
off,
a
like-
Josephus a
No,
commander.
no. This is
Josephus
gonna be.
Josephus was a commander in one of the Jewish armies who got beaten by Rome. He was taken prisoner, and after
Yes,
he was
that's
taken
right.
prisoner, because he was because he's a Roman citizen, he joined the Roman cause
Yes,
as
that's right.
as a historian and as a whatever he
He's probably
did.
trying to save his life.
But you know what happened?
Yeah,
With
maybe.
Josephus? Do you know what happened with Josephus in the cave when he was caught by the Romans and he hid in the cave with all his other Jewish?
Yes, I
friends?
know. He was caught by
about
Nate
13
Cunningham, and
13
Nate
people?
Cunningham went to find a witness. And when they came back with a witness, they were still going at it. And the witness
No.
and Nate Cunningham said to them, "Please stop your homosexual activity." And they said, "Fuck you." And then it went all the way up to the Sanhedrin and was just ugly.
Sydney, listen to me.
Yes,
Josephus was such a genius, right?
yes.
He actually was stuck in this cave with the other 12 Jews, right? And the Romans were bearing down on them. They would discover the cave any moment. So what Josephus did is he actually drew lots. He actually took straws or whatever, and he actually asked the person, whoever draws the shortest straw, would surrender themselves or would die first, or we will kill them. And whoever draws the next shortest straw, we would kill them. And Josephus was the only one remaining in the cave, and the Romans captured him, and he became a Roman.
So can we trust his story, or did he just fucking kill everybody?
No. If you look online on YouTube,
How do we know that story is true though? If there's only one survivor, he can
if
make
you
up
look
whatever the hell he
online on
wants.
YouTube,
Why are you telling everybody to go online to YouTube when we're here with all the combined knowledge of all our years of research?
wait,
Why
because
you say go to YouTube? I mean, go to Google.
what I'm saying is that there's an online video called the Josephus problem, right? It's a mathematical problem. If you look up this video, right, it'll actually explain to you how smart Josephus was and how he had smarted all his fellow Jews in the cave. And
So he was smart enough to create a story where he killed everyone to save his own life, and
No,
then
I'm saying Josephus was a fucking asshole.
Seem as guilty.
No,
Well,
I'm
yeah,
saying
but if he's the only survivor, how could you trust anything he says about what happened?
because he manipulated the freaking system.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, how can you possibly believe that story or verify that story?
Listen,
'cause he was the only
Sidney-
survivor, right?
Sidney, can you share the video on YouTube? It's called the Josephus problem.
Well, no,
First, I
never
want
mind.
to hold
Sure.
on. First, I want to recognize Gamby and JG, both
Yeah.
in the chat. They just joined. Hey
It's
guys.
actually
Hello,
My
people.
only point being that if you've
Yeah.
got a single survivor, like, and he tells you a story about, the other people sacrificed themselves so that I could live, how can you possibly trust it? Like,
Well,
whether it's true or not, there's just no way to actually
But
trust
the thing is, though,
what a sole
Josephus was so
survivor
smart.
says.
Josephus was so smart and educated that he actually knew how to fool these people in the cave. He actually knew the
You don't know that,
mathematics.
but he just killed them all.
I know he did, and he survived.
Right, and
Yeah,
he made up
that
some
ma-
bullshit story, perhaps.
Yeah, that makes him an asshole, right? I agree with you.
Yeah, and a
right?
liar. Yeah,
He should have died with his brothers, right?
maybe. Well, who knows
Right.
what happened?
But he actually invented this method where you can pull straws, and whoever pulls the shortest straw, they would get killed, so they don't get captured by the Romans, right?
Yeah.
And
I find it hard to believe that that sort of methodology didn't exist before Josephus.
but you have
They
to
had
read.
straw back then.
You
Yeah.
have to read. You have to read this guy's book and see how
Yeah,
fucking
don't.
detailed he was in his writings.
You know, the
It's
funny
fucking
thing is,
amazing.
like, as much as I'm talking about it, I just don't care enough about any of this stuff to research and read about it.
No, I understand.
Be
but
fair.
I'm just,
I'm just being
no,
honest.
no, no. I'm not bolstering for Josephus. I'm a
Yeah,
fucking
no,
atheist.
I know,
don't
but
give.
yeah,
I'm just saying that this is the history that went along with these
yeah.
things that we hear about, right? This is the history. People
Yeah.
don't know
My point
about.
being, like, any of these guys writing back then, what we think of
Yeah.
as history was probably just embellished stories, and they were writing down
Yeah.
theology as much as history, and then, like, I don't think you can trust a lot of it.
Yes, exactly.
Are you saying that story of Josephus in the cave is fake?
I have no way of knowing. That's my point.
You have no way of knowing.
All you've got is his word for it, right?
Well, he documented it.
It says I can document all kinds of shit.
He wrote about it. He's a survivor.
Yeah, but you don't know how he survived. You don't know what happened to those other people. You've only got his word.
He told you what happened to the other people. They killed themselves.
Why do you believe him?
What?
Why do you believe what? Why do you believe his story?
Because he wrote it.
Well, I can write all kinds of shit.
That's in it.
Makes
It's
no
called-
sense at all. What? So do you believe L. Ron Hubbard's story?
No, I don't.
But he
think-
wrote it.
Yeah. But if you read the story, and it makes mathematic sense.
Sure, it doesn't mean it still doesn't make it true.
No, but it just shows that how smart Josephus was for his time.
Doesn't make it true.
Okay, so he's a creative liar. Cool.
No, it just means that he was really intelligent.
Sure, I don't think anyone doubts that. He was probably very, for the time especially, he was very
Yeah.
well educated and intelligent.
Okay.
But doesn't mean he's not making shit up.
Thomas sleeping?
Tom, are you sleeping?
Somebody is. Or is that his editorial on the conversation?
Or maybe he's
I'd believe that before I believe you were sleeping.
Thomas, do you have something to say? Do you have something to say besides snoring?
Oh, Tommy, funny. No, I think he's. I'll mute him.
We were talking about circumcision, so I'm surprised he's, yeah.
Yeah, no, he's.
Yeah.
He's a very. He's been working hard today, I'm sure. I'll just mute him.
Anyway, I mean, Sidney, I think your position of it's all made up and just mythology is supportable and defensible, whether, like I said, I just don't think, I think until we get some other evidence, there's just no way of knowing one way or the other.
Well, I think that the whole God concept.
And to me,
I think the whole God concept is just an impossibility.
It's just incoherent from the start.
It's irrational. Right? It's irrational. Yeah, from the very start. So,
Well,
so if that itself is irrational, if we can show that Moses didn't exist, for example, and it's quite conclusive that Moses did not exist, then everything that follows afterwards doesn't exist either.
Yeah, it doesn't mean the characters aren't embellished, but at that point, and this is where I struggle with some of the online atheists that talk about, oh yeah, well, I'm not in that weird fringe camp. I believe, Jesus was historical, but he wasn't God. Well, then so what? Like, who cares? It's just a name in a book at that point, right? It's a story based on a real character. It's still made up. So who cares if he's
Totally
historical or not?
Yeah.
If it's not, if the God concept is dismissed, then whether Jesus is historical or not is actually completely irrelevant.
So what do you think of Bart Ehrman's arguments where he thinks that Jesus is historical?
I think he falls flat in his ass with his arguments. He's got a useless argument.
No.
I think he's so committed. I think he's got a gambler's fallacy where he's so committed to his position that he can't possibly get out of it.
That's what I hear from everybody.
When I listen to him, that's what I hear. Someone that's he's so entrenched that at this point it'd be too embarrassing or too.
That's disingenuous.
Yeah, but he's calling mythicists idiots. He's saying that how can you fucking deny the
which to me
that's what
which to me is the problem, because I don't think mythicists are idiots, whether you agree or not. the way he dismisses them, I think, is a really compromised position for an academic to take. I don't think that's doing himself any favors. But I think when I listen to him speak, I just hear someone that's so overcommitted to his position that he's not willing to even consider the validity of the
Yeah, I agree.
criticism.
I agree
So
with
do you think he's got a good retirement plan?
Well, sure, writing books about
That's
Jesus.
why he's
Yeah.
doing it.
Hey, everybody's retirement plan. If everybody's retirement plan included writing books about Jesus, everybody would have a great retirement plan.
Yeah, he's probably got a $1 million retirement plan.
Well, it's a big
Yes.
market, right?
Huge
Yeah.
market, and they're gullible
You
as
want
all
to sell
hell.
books about Jesus? I mean, how much? There's
You want to sell books?
200 million
If you want to
customers
sell
in
books,
the US
write
alone,
about
right?
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and he's been there with that institution for at least 26 or 30 years, right? Maybe
Yeah,
even
so-
more.
And he's been saying all along that he believes Jesus is historical. Like, I don't think he's going to
Yeah.
change. And
But
I
but
don't
he
find
does-
his arguments very compelling either, to be honest.
But he does take the agnosticism position.
Yeah, which is weird.
He's an agnostic, right?
Which
so, I mean,
agnostic is
so-
such a useless position, to be honest.
So I mean,
That's
I
another
don't
topic.
know. Did he change his position to atheist recently? I'm not sure.
I don't
Is he agnostic or atheist?
I don't see a difference between them, to be
Well, I'm
honest.
pretty agnostic on gravity. What about you
Well,
guys?
because if he's agnostic, then that means that he's safe.
That means he's atheist. I actually agree with
No,
Darth
no.
on this.
No, he's saying. Well, no, that means he's safe. He says he doesn't know, right?
Yeah, but that's
So that
bullshit.
means-
If you don't know, then you don't. To me, if you say I don't know if that's true, and this is where I think Sidney was saying about Jesus, like that to me is just like, why would you accept something without evidence and
Gamby.
just say, well, I don't know? To me, that's the same as saying I don't accept it. I think it's agnosticism is a wishy-washy
No, I
position
understand,
that people take just to be non-controversial.
right. But I'm exactly. That's what I'm saying. He's taking that
Yeah.
position because of his retirement package.
Yeah, it's kind of like Jordan Peterson. He won't take a position because he's got too many Patreons, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know what Jordan Peterson's position is. I don't even know that.
Well, he won't say, right?
I love Jesus so much that he cries.
Yeah, he won't commit to a position because he wants to ride the fence to get the donors and Patreon money from both sides.
Oh, he's
I think-
Jesus all the way. All the
I
way.
think what he
Raw.
does is I think Jordan Peterson is a closet atheist, right? But he throws out these Christian and religious nuggets once in a
Yeah.
while, just to
He's a
keep
fucking-
people in.
he's-
Just to
we know
keep
he's a
people
liar.
interested.
So he's a
Yeah.
scammer.
Famous
He's
for
a
being a
scammer.
liar.
He's like
Yeah.
another Darth Dawkins, but with a PhD.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
weird, man.
he rose to fame with that whole C-41 bill stuff that he lied outright
Yeah.
about.
What's the Bill C-41?
C-41 is the pronoun bill,
In Canada, yeah, you should know about that. Winston.
the Canadian pronoun bill.
And he kept going on about how people were going to go to jail over it and stuff like that, and it's not even a criminal. It's not even in the criminal.
It's not
act.
because it
bullshit.
doesn't apply to the general public. It applies to the fucking government and the federal government and all that.
Well,
and-
it's not, and none of it's criminal. Like you can't
No,
go to
and-
jail for non-criminal things.
Yeah, and it applies to the administration. It doesn't apply to the general public.
Yeah, no, he lied about it and he's now
Yeah.
a millionaire over it.
Yeah, and people and people glommed onto that because he took a stand against his students, against his university, right? Saying that why
Oh,
do you
he hit a-
I haven't been impressed since the very first time I heard Jordan Peterson open his mouth.
Well, then as soon as he started talking about lobsters, I just knew he was a freaking rat job, right?
As
Like
soon as
all
I
that
saw him
stuff.
crying about Jesus,
Yeah.
then I knew he was a performance
and,
artist.
and did you see the recent interview with Muhammad Hijab, the Muslim? So he had an interview with Muhammad Hijab, which is a Muslim
I
apologist.
know who Muhammad Hijab is. I just didn't see the
Very
interview.
popular Muslim apologist. And then,
Is he the very big, huge, tall guy?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
okay,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And at one point in the interview, Muhammad Hijab says, "Listen, can I recite you some verses from the Quran?" Right? And then Muhammad Hijab started singing. He actually started singing the verses to Jordan Peterson.
Mhm.
And you look at Jordan Peterson's face, and it looks like he was about to cry.
From
The Quran
what?
is actually really beautiful. to
Because
listen
of
to
because
when
of
it's sung,
It
right?
is.
So
I
Muhammad
don't deny it.
Muhammad Hijab has such a beautiful voice that he made Jordan Peterson cry.
Yeah. No. It's the verses from the Quran, and him singing it that made him cry.
But how did
Yeah.
Jordan understand?
No, because the Quran verses have power. Don't you understand that?
No.
He could translate in his heart, Sidney.
Yeah. The Quranic verses have
The
power
word
to
of
move
God
you.
transcends language, which is
Yeah,
why
they,
it's
they,
written
they
in
have
does.
their
power to
language.
move you to emotion. This is
Yeah,
what
there
the
you go.
Quran is all about.
You know
you-
in your heart. God is written in your
Yeah.
heart. Come on.
When this is their claim.
You know, I
When
should
you-
know this. I should innately know this somehow. I'm
No,
supposed.
this is
Am
what
I
they
not
claim.
human? Is it probably because I'm reptilian that I don't have an innate knowledge of God? Is this how you separate the reptilians from the real humans? Because real humans are born with an innate knowledge of God, and those who are not human, who may be reptilian, are born without that innate knowledge of God, which makes
It's
me
an indoctrination tactic.
I'm
right?
a reptilian.
If you tell your little kids that everyone should feel they have God, and there's something wrong with you if you don't, what's the kid going to
Well,
tell
my
you?
parents screwed up then. They didn't tell me about God.
Yeah, mine either. So
So you can blame my rational side on my parents.
yeah, if the term didn't exist back then, but I think my mother, if she were alive today, would be called an anti-theist. So that's the environment I grew up in.
My
And
father
it's
for
funny,
sure.
like, and honestly, that's the struggle I have with, even a lot of the online atheist community, because so many of them are ex-Christians and a lot of them are ex-fundamentals. They have a very different mindset
Yeah, because they
still
are
than never theists.
they're engraved. They have an engraved trauma on their brains.
Yeah. They still think, a lot of them still sort of think that way, which
Well,
is
yeah, they can't get their mind out of the gutter of indoctrination,
Well, no,
of Christian indoctrination.
it's called latent Christianity.
yeah, that's a good term for it.
Yeah.
Whereas, I mean, I remember as an adult sort of being exposed to US American Christianity, and I swear I just about shit myself when I realized that how many Americans actually believed the Bible stories were really true.
Mm.
It's just like, how the like, I mean, I grew up with Bible stories, right? Noah's Ark and Garden of Eden, all that stuff. I mean, and the what's his name living in the
Somebody
giant
grew
fish.
up in the city.
And it's just like, you can't, how can you possibly think any of these stories were actually happened? And yet, 200 million Americans do. It's just, holy crap.
Hey, algorithm question. Were you ever a theist?
Never, no.
Never?
No.
So you're a cradle atheist.
Yep.
Me
Very
too.
good.
Me too. Yeah, we
How
have
did
something
that-
in common.
And it's a really different attitude, isn't it, Sidney, when you're talking to,
That's right.
I mean, I never even really called myself an atheist. I didn't even really know the word existed until watching the online community a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, I never call myself an atheist. It's a meaningless term to me.
Yeah, this is the thing. You don't look out for that term when you're deconstructing from a religion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
It's a bad word in the US. Like, it's
no, because I think all atheists have gone through the stages of investigating all religions. I think that most atheists have done that.
I never.
Right?
Really?
I did that personally.
I just dismissed it at a hand as nonsense. I didn't investigate anything.
Well, actually, I started out at 8 years old denouncing Catholicism because the first time I went to church, I said, "This is fucking bullshit. I can't believe that this fucking priest is that." This is at 8 years old. I had a rational mind of saying, I was told by my dad, that with religion you can do everything, and I saw this priest fucking.
That alone should have been a warning sign, right?
Yeah, throwing water on a baby, and I said, "What? This is it?
Yeah.
What's gonna happen to the baby? Fuck it, forget this shit." I didn't see no magic. I don't see no fucking. That's what you expect as a kid. You expect certain kind of fucking magical things from the world, right? And if you don't see it, you change your worldview, and that's what I did.
But most people don't, though, right?
Yeah.
That's the problem.
That's
they still
true.
believe in magic.
But then later on, my dad was still persistent in his Catholicism. I left South Africa when I was 15. And then when I came to Canada, it's a Western culture or whatever. Say, oh fuck, great Western culture, great, and I learned about the system of Canada and how they operate. It's a social democratic system. It's mostly They take care of their people when really need help. They have a social system in place,
Unless you're in
social
Alberta,
help in
then
place.
unless you're in Alberta, then it's very different. But yeah.
Yeah, well, I was in that position where actually I was abandoned by my mother, right? At 18 or whatever, maybe 20 or something. My mother just fucking fucked off, and she never came back and got evicted from our apartment.
At 18 months?
No, 18 years old, 18,
Oh,
20
you're
years old.
When you were an
right?
adult, you were abandoned by your mother?
Yeah, and my sister too. My sister was like 7 years old, younger than me, so she was like, and
Yeah.
we got kicked out of a fucking apartment, and I said, "What the fuck is this bullshit, man?"
Why were you-
there's a god.
Why?
Huh?
Yeah.
What is
It-
there a
they-
political reason, or is this all social reasons?
No, it's my mom. It's my mom's fault.
Oh, it's her fault. Okay.
She just abandoned everybody. She just abandoned us. She got involved with somebody else or
Yeah.
whatever, and she just fucking forgot about paying the rent
Yeah.
in the apartment where me and my sister were living, and we got kicked out once by the fucking. We got evicted, right?
Where'd you
And we had
go?
to fucking.
What did you
Huh?
do? What did you do?
We had to fend for ourselves. I went from shelter to shelter for years and years.
At
And
18? I'm surprised they would take you, but
Yeah, at 18, I went from shelter to shelter, and then eventually I found a place where I could.
This is not Africa you're talking about.
No, this is Canada,
Oh, okay.
and I got a lot of support from the government. I mean, I found a place, and even though I was living with other people, there was support there, right?
Correct.
If I was in a fucking third world
that's what
country,
having a social net means.
yeah, if I was in a third world country, I would be fucking begging on the streets.
Yeah.
And I would be on drugs, and I would be on all kinds of shit.
Yeah. If
But-
you were in the US, the
but-
third world country, you'd be.
Yeah, but now that I'm
screwed.
older, I think about like I could have gone down so many other directions, right?
Yeah, many people do. in those
If it
situations.
wasn't support from the government, a socialist government, right? And social assistance and all that. I was in
That's the whole mentality of like that drives me crazy in the US and stuff about like, oh, we don't want to give free handouts to people, but
yeah,
a
I
little
hate
bit
that
of investment
mentality,
in
man.
you versus setting you loose and on the street and being homeless and God only knows what trouble you'd get into.
Man, people go through
Like,
tough
it's such
times
a
in
cheap
life.
investment in people, right? It's
Yeah.
just disgusting that countries don't do it.
Yeah, people going through tough times in life that is no cause of their own. You know what I mean?
But hey, I
They
need
didn't
some
bring-
new bombers, and I need some new weapons, and I need some new, very expensive warplanes. We've got lots of money for that.
Yeah,
Yep,
people go
there's
through
always money
times.
for that,
Always
There's
always money for hardware.
and jails and prisons.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Some of the things people go through, it's not that they have no cause of their own. I mean, if you caused your own fucking problems, fine. If you're a criminal, you deserve to go to jail. I'm fine with that, right? But if you succumb to certain social conditions such as health conditions, or familial conditions, family conditions, or certain social conditions, depression or mental disability, you need to know that the government, that you have support somewhere, right?
Mhm.
However, I'm opposed to imprisonment as a form of punishment. I don't believe
what-
our prison system works.
So do you advocate for the death penalty?
Absolutely not. And my view on the death penalty is that it should be an option for the person. So basically, if somebody's sentenced to life without parole, they can
Uh-huh.
request the death penalty, but we should not be imposing it.
Okay, so
And for other crimes, I think the prison system should be a rehabilitation system where they get training
Yeah.
and jobs and
Yeah.
education, not just freaking punishment. It doesn't work. It's never
I
worked.
agree with you, but yeah, I
It's
agree
an
with you. But
institutional money-making process. It's disgusting.
I agree with you 100%. It is a money making process, but if you look at the scale, if you look at the scale of the U.S. population as opposed to all of these other secular countries where they can actually implement those kind of systems, you kind of think of, will that work in the U.S., right?
But think of how many people in the U.S. are serving like 30 and 40-year prison sentences for marijuana possession.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean, half of those people shouldn't be in jail in the first place.
yeah, exactly. And I think everybody that has their first conviction of marijuana should fucking go free.
There should be no convictions for marijuana.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
when you think of how many people are in prison for social issues and mental health and other addiction problems and everything else like that.
Yeah.
These are not criminals. These are mental health problems. And just putting them in prison just makes it worse. It's a ridiculous system.
yeah, no, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly agree with you. But
Yeah.
when it comes down to actually diagnosing these people, right?
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean, some of these people might have brain defects, they might have some kind of growth in their brain or some kind of abnormality that can't be detected, right? But the resources going into learning and discovering about those things is astronomical. You would
it's
agree
not
with?
though compared to what everything else costs. We just don't care enough to do it.
So you're saying, well, no, I would be in favor of cutting the military budget
Yeah.
to actually put that money into those kind of resources, right?
How many millions of dollars does it cost to build a highway per kilometer?
Oh,
I don't
And
know.
we don't
yeah.
have $10,000 for a medical diagnosis. That's
Yeah,
bullshit.
I agree.
I don't know.
I totally. But then again, you've got the money. You just got to choose where you're going to spend it on.
Yeah,
You're going to spend it on
money
the
is not the issue. We've
people,
got
or you're going to spend it on the military.
in
Well,
Western
so
countries, money is not the limiting factor. It's how what
Yes.
we think is important and what we think is valuable to spend it
yeah,
on, and that's what's
um,
become very warped.
yeah. So do you think the parole system should be changed? Should be reformed?
Yes, yep. I think the whole system needs to be blown up. In fact, there's a advocacy group, and I think it's out of the UK, that basically people that go to prison, like they have to sleep there at night and stuff, but they go through education, they're given jobs, and it just changes everything when you change it from punishment to a system to basically help the people, right? And obviously it's not going to work for everybody, but it works for a hell of a lot more than what we're doing now. All you're doing is,
Yeah,
and you look. So here's an example here in Australia, like certainly with the Aboriginal communities and things like that. Like you get minor crimes where a single parent gets put in jail, basically putting them into a welfare state. Their kids end up going into social care, so they lose their family, they lose all their connectivity, so they probably end up in trouble. And it just becomes this generational horrible cycle
yeah,
that you can't break. But instead of treating people as criminals, basically make it a vocational exercise
yeah.
and just change the entire mindset. Let them see their kids. Like, don't take their freaking kids away from them.
Right.
Like,
Are
there's parts
are
of Australia where if you have unpaid fines, they can put you in jail.
mm,
So they put those people in jail, and their kids go into the social system. Like,
right.
what possible purpose does that serve?
Let me ask you a question. You said you're in Australia, right?
Yep.
Are the indigenous people assimilated in the general population, or do they have reserves or special kind of sections?
They have their own territories depending where you are. So there's huge.
So just like in Canada.
Not quite, because there's no actual treaties, but
Well, in the
there's
U.S.,
Aboriginal
in the
land.
U.S.
They have a lot of their own land. Like you can't even go on it. You're not even allowed there without permission.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep. But it's not self-governing like it's still very much it's not
So why?
self-governing like some of the places in Canada.
So why couldn't assimilation work? Like even
The
in the
cultures are
U.S. or Australia?
because you're asking them to assimilate to us. It's not a two-way street. You're asking them to give up their entire culture to become like us Western people. The assimilation is never two-way. It's not a
See,
blending.
okay,
It's not a merging and
yeah,
taking the
yeah,
best of both and supporting both. Uh, Assimilation is generally become like us.
yeah. You
And
know what? You know what? I think the Muslims have the same problems.
yeah, be
The
like us.
Muslims,
Yeah.
the Muslims do not want to become assimilated because they believe
Yeah.
they have the true religion.
The assimilation is unidirectional, and that's why it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Can you
Well,
believe here's a stat that I don't think people know. Sidney, I can't remember the age of accountability for like what age can you be charged as an adult to go into jail in Canada?
well, it varies.
18?
I think in Canada it's 17 or 18. I
Yeah.
think
Any guesses as to what it is in Australia?
What?
Take a guess.
To be tried as an adult?
Yeah, so you can go to jail.
21.
10.
What?
Yep.
After 10, you're an adult?
Yeah, you can go to jail as a 10-year-old.
This applies to everybody?
Yeah. It's fucking barbaric.
Hold on a second. Hold on. That it might not be barbaric. It just might reflect the kind of violence that 10-year-olds are able to inflict, or 9-year-olds.
Yeah, but
Wait a
what
second.
what possible benefit is there putting a 10-year-old in jail?
Absolutely, kill the fucker.
What?
Yeah, you might as well.
Well,
Yeah.
what kind of crime does a 10-year-old have to commit to be sentenced to life in prison?
Sidney,
I don't
Tell
know
me
about
what.
life, but
Tell me what type. Don't Sidney me. Ask. What's the
Can you-
crime? What is the crime?
butt sex. Butt
can you
sex.
imagine when you were 10 years old? What the fuck
What
were you thinking
is the
about?
crime?
Murder,
For what?
I would think. I actually don't know how many of them
Murder.
get life
Okay, murder.
sentences.
Murder.
A lot of them go to jail for like theft and stuff, right?
Well, okay. Well, if it's theft, then of course I disagree with it.
Yeah.
Because then it's the parents' responsibility,
But
or the government's
any
responsibility.
10-year-old that becomes
Wait
a
a second. How
serial
does a
killer,
10-year-old?
that's a mental health issue, not a crime.
Yeah,
But how does a
yeah,
10-year-old
yeah.
that murders the people not a parent's responsibility?
Exactly.
Well, you know what? There is the anomalies where there's just absolutely nothing you can do. There's just nothing you
So-
can do.
That's such
What-
an exceptional thing, though, right? Like,
Absolutely,
that's not
I agree.
normal.
I agree. But in that case, you got your little death penalty or whatever.
So you're gonna condone every
I
10-year-old
didn't
that
say.
commits
Hold
murder?
on. Did I just say there's a very, very, very rare exception which is the ones that really qualify?
Well, you said theft, but now you
I
say
didn't say
murder.
No, no,
theft.
Sydney,
We're
I
talking-
said theft. Sydney. didn't.
We're talking about something horrifically brutal and anti-human.
Butt
Humane.
sex. Yeah, that's definitely.
Well, it's murder.
But-
Murder is anti-human, right?
Well, it depends if the 10-year-old's the receiver or the pitcher.
That's true. Yeah, of
So do you think a 10-year-old should go into adult jail,
course not.
Sydney?
As
I
soon
don't
as
think-
possible, even if they haven't committed a crime, because they are going to commit a crime.
Holy fuck! So what kind of parole would you give a 10-year-old that goes into adult jail?
18.
He gets parole at 18.
Yes.
Wow. How does he
Yeah.
come up with that arbitrary number?
Because that at 18 they can go straight to boot camp in the army.
There you go. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, and that's going to change then.
You damn right it's going to change them.
Wow. So when they go through the army, they're going to come out as a fucking psychopath and kill more people,
That's what you think?
just like fucking.
Then let's experiment with my idea.
Can't be worse than what we're doing now.
Can't be worse than what we're doing now.
How about investing in fucking social programs and fucking rehabilitation programs instead of condemning this fucking
That
this
people
kid
have
to
been,
hell.
yeah, those are old ideas that never came to fruition.
Well, algorithm. Do you agree with that?
They are old
that's-
ideas, and they've been bandied around forever, but they've never come
Do you
to
think
fruition.
I'll take Jill's approach and just call you a fucking liberal and dismiss it.
That's funny.
Sydney,
That's
you're
exactly
fucking
what he
liberal.
does.
Sydney, you're a liberal.
Tell me
man.
how that works, liberal.
Oh, but you guys are really hurting me, man. You're hurting my feelings.
This is fucking bullshit, Sydney. Where's your humanity, man? I thought you fucking humane.
It seems like I'm sitting on my humanity. Jesus Christ.
Okay. Well, I'm glad
On
we
that
have
cheery
this.
note, I
Huh?
probably need to run here, guys. So
Okay, well, thanks all for joining. You made the hangout a good time, good fun
yeah,
time.
maybe someone should wake up Tom if he's around still.
Oh, I
think,
can't unmute him, so it's up to him.
Hey, we need more people to join, man. There's a lot of people in the chat. Let's get them in here.
Yeah, need to get Sydney's channel to grow a bit.
Yeah, well, how are we
Yeah,
gonna?
let's
All right,
get,
we'll have a hangout about that next time about how to grow my channel, and it'll be the most boring fucking hangout anyone's ever seen.
Well, if you look at some of the other channels, just make every title in your thumbnails about Darth, and that'll get some extra views, right? So.
Oh yeah.
Well, you know what? That the thing about that is the clickbaity stuff sort of gets you somebody popping in for about 5 seconds and then leaving.
I mean, I have to admit,
and then
I've been a
possibly
Darth
even
addict.
unsubscribing because how dare you?
Yeah, I've been a Darth addict just because of the, just the train, the car crash effect. But even now, like he's just like, it's never changing, and if anything, he's getting more vitriolic
Oh,
and
he has to
horrible.
be because I've, as you
It's just,
know, as you
it's just
might
horrible
know,
to watch now. I
I
have
have
a hard time
content with Darth myself where we actually have conversations.
Yeah.
Sydney, you're just not that enticing, man.
I'm just not your type, eh?
I'm just kidding, man.
I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah,
Well-
you have to become more scrumptious.
Listen, I'm a grumpy introvert, so that's never going to change.
I think that's your appeal, but yeah.
You need to become scrumdelicious.
Well, all right. Let me give you my.
right.
I'll give you my OnlyFans.
Yeah, there you go.
Ooh.
That's a scary thought. All right, thanks guys.
Okay. See you
Enjoyed the
next
chat,
time.
and I'll jump in next time I can.
All
So
right.
take
Peace
care.
and shalom.
Okay. Hey, thanks, man. Nice talking to you.
Yeah, likewise.
Okay.
Free thinkers in the side chat. Hey, man, come on in.
Nobody wants to come in. What,
No,
what
you know
what's
why?
up with
Because
these,
because tell me why. Tell me why you
what's
think.
up with these people, man? All they want to do is like talk on the keyboard and use the keyboard. What's up?
Well,
Come and say
usually when
hi,
that
man.
happens, nobody cares because there's so many people interested in the actual, streaming of what's going on.
Don't worry, you'll remain anonymous. When you come into the studio, all you have to do is deactivate your camera. If you have a camera, and that's it. Well, you have to have a camera in order to get.
No, I set it up so that, let me see if I've set it up, because I usually set it up if they can, because I can choose whether people can turn on their video or not.
Yeah, just deactivate your camera, or Sidney will deactivate it for you, and you'll remain anonymous, and we'll have some really good conversations. I want to hear some free-thinking people, talking about all kinds of shit.
On that note, when you said free thinking people, on the Nate Cunningham video I was reacting to earlier, he claims to be a critical thinker, and I'm trying to correlate critical thinking with arriving at Jesus through critical thinking. You arrive it just doesn't mesh. I need Nate Cunningham to come in here and explain to me how the fuck that works.
Well, this is the thing. This is my theory, and I need some more data in order to form more. This is my hypothesis, and I need more data to form a theory. I think that Christians in general never knew what the word critical thinking is before atheists pointed it out to them.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you.
What do you think about that?
I agree with you. I can't argue with you. Sorry. Find something
because
else. Find something else we'll disagree on.
They're not allowed to do that. It's in their book. It's in the scripture. You cannot critically think.
Yeah, but
It's
you have a
antithetical.
brain. How do you stop your brain from critically thinking? That's
It's
my
antithetical. Yeah, exactly.
This is the problem I've been dealing with and struggling with forever.
Yeah.
How do you
Yeah.
stop your brain from being rational?
And this is from mundane everyday things. How do you not think critically of everyday mundane things in life? You need a critical brain, to get through your day, right?
Yes, and you have a critical brain. Everybody has one.
But when
But
it
how
comes
do
to the
you-
Bible,
Yeah.
when it comes to the Bible, your critical thinking stops.
How?
It's
How?
weird.
How is it possible?
I don't know how that happens, man.
Because
It's a mystery.
I can't get it to. I'm trying. I cannot get
It's
it.
a mystery.
I
it's a
cannot
mystery
switch
to
off
me.
my critical thinking and accept Jesus. And conversely, I can't use critical thinking to accept Jesus.
It's a real mystery to me. I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. How can people turn off their critical thinking faculties in an instant?
And Nate Cunningham would be the perfect person to take on that question and provide an answer.
Wow.
But I think mostly people are, because they know that they've got no comeback to the all gods are imaginary assertion.
Yeah, but then again, Sidney, God works in mysterious ways.
Yeah, imagine that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So if you have mystery in the brain, mystery trumps critical thinking.
Mysterious ways trumps critical thinking, you think?
Yes. Yes, always in a non-critical thinking brain,
Right. So that
right?
so the fact that's the time when you stopped the Earth from spinning or the moon from something, when you stopped physics for a time, that was critical thinking would allow me to just leap over that.
Well, actually, maybe I wouldn't say critical thinking. Maybe I would say faith and wishful thinking.
Somebody's somebody's not going to come in here. Jay's not going to come in here because he's drunk. And
What?
he doesn't want to make an ass of himself. Well, I never drunk when I'm in my hangouts, and I make an ass of myself pretty much every time. So so being drunk is not an excuse. Making
But
an
you're
ass of
high.
yourself is also not an excuse because that's what we do.
But you're high.
But I'm high, and that's why I make an ass of myself. So come on in anyway, because nobody knows who you are. And if you have the capacity to raise your voice or lower your voice half an octave, then you can even disguise that.
Well, Gamby's leaving right now.
Yeah, Gamby's just I believe just discovered us. Gamby, thanks for joining in the chat. Please subscribe and tell your friends, and we'll see you next time.
Hey, can you guys share this on Twitter or something, or your favorite
Oh,
social
and
media
you please like.
Because we need more theists to come in here and discuss these important topics with us, because it's very important that we get to the bottom of the well, right?
Yeah, we put it to bed once and for all. That's what I'm trying to do.
Well, yeah, okay. I think Doc Dawkins is done. I think he's done.
Oh, absolutely, he's done. He's a clown.
Yeah, I think we need new arguments right now.
Well, Darth Dawkins. Well, we got Nate Cunningham, who's the same. See, the thing about Nate Cunningham, he's the same. He presents the same argument as Darth Dawkins, but he's a much more gentle, kind. He's a gentler, kinder, more sympathetic, and reasonable person as a human being than Darth Dawkins is.
Okay, so you mean he throws a lot of theology as opposed to Darth Dawkins?
He doesn't insult. He doesn't. There's no aggression. He's all about peace, man. He's like.
Does he use a lot of philosophy?
No.
So does he mostly use colloquial arguments and theology?
He uses Jesus and the Bible and just live like Jesus.
So rhetoric.
Kinda.
He uses theological rhetoric.
Very simple.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be an interesting guy to talk to.
Yeah, you can have a conversation with him. The only thing is, I've spoken to him, and the reason that he probably won't come in here is because I ask the difficult questions, and I don't take evasion as the final answer.
Does he know his Bible well?
He says he's read it cover to cover.
Okay.
Several times. Freethinker asks, did you guys hear Darth's argument for God? Did you hear Darth's argument for God is that without God there can be no facts.
Yeah, that's right.
Right, Freethinker?
Yeah. That means that whatever cognitive faculties
Here it comes. Premise 1. If God exists, then he can make himself known to me. Premise 1. Oh, the suspense is killing me. What's the premise 2? I know he's got to type it out.
God makes himself known to me.
Premise 1. If God exists, then he can make himself known to me. That's the premise.
Premise 2. God makes himself known to me.
Premise 2. God has made himself known to me. Now there's a conclusion. There's a conclusion coming.
God exists because he made himself known to me.
Therefore, God exists. Yeah. You know what he did? He said,
Oh my God.
I remember that clip. You know what he said first? He says, listen, okay, I'll give an example. He says, if Bigfoot exists and then Bigfoot decides to make himself known to me, then that proves that Bigfoot exists, right?
Yeah.
Then he uses that same syllogism for
Yeah.
God.
Right.
And premise 2, God has made himself known to me. That's
Yeah.
a premise that we all have to agree on.
Yeah. Premise 2 just means that you're a selfish prick. That's all it is. Right? That's all it is.
He's the only person on the planet who
Yeah.
God has revealed himself to, and he's a grumpy old cunt.
Me. Have you seen that video by Pine Creek where it goes me, me?
No.
That's exactly what that reminds me of. God made himself known to me.
Oh,
Me.
That is so funny.
Oh,
That is so Mormon.
What a selfish prick that Darth is. Huh?
Yeah, he's a man with many, many, many problems.
God, do you think is a what kind of male? Is he Omicron male or alpha male?
He's a malignant narcissist.
I think it's a Zeta male.
No, he's a malignant narcissist. He's a male, sure, I think.
Yeah.
Gamby says, before I leave, I'm not an atheist, but I hold a pantheism approach. I see a panentheism approach, sorry. I see God, in quotes, as the energy keeping the ether turning rather than a white bearded dude in the sky.
Okay.
Were all gods blasphemy? I don't know what that means.
Okay, so scientists say that the ether is
were
the
all
quantum.
gods blasphemy? Oh, I'm not sure.
We're all. So the scientists say that the ether is the quantum foam.
No, you said
Particles pop in and out of existence. That's the ether.
well, the ether is vibration. The existence, the whole of reality is vibration at the quantum level. That's what it all is.
But at the quantum level, things pop in and out of existence at will. There's no control over it, right?
There's no but. It's all vibration.
It's unpredictable.
It's all
right?
but it's all movement. Popping in and out is movement.
Yeah, there's a.
It's vibration. It's
Heisenberg,
energy. That's what energy is. That's what the that's what's ultimate.
That's the Heisenberg's uncertainty principle.
That's what's ultimate, is that energy, the vibration that is necessary for a quantum to even exist, for the quantum level to even exist, is primary, is ultimate, if that's what you want to put it. But that has got no intelligence. There's no thinking, no thought.
Yeah,
it's
that's
all
right.
It's plain quantum level physics.
Right.
And it is ultimate.
Right. So if you think at a quantum level, right,
Mm-hmm.
and you have what's called quantum superposition, right?
I've heard of it, but I don't quite understand what that is.
Quantum superposition means that things can be either plus or minus at the same time, or 1 and 0 at the same time, right? They fluctuate really fast between 1 and 0.
Hold on. Whoa. Is it 1 and 0 at the same time, or just really fast fluctuations?
Really fast fluctuations, and it's conceived as being one.
How?
Right?
I don't know. I don't understand. You just said it's fluctuations between one and the other. So in other words, at some point in the turnaround, there's a neutral position.
Well, yeah, no, but quantum fluctuations says that the law of contradiction does not apply to these quantum fields. So
The law
they
of,
cannot be they cannot be contradicted to each other. So they're in balance, they're in flux, right?
I don't understand. I really don't get
So
it.
the frequency between the ones and the zeros coming on and going off is exactly the same, right? They match, they are in flux, right?
That's so you're talking about quantum entanglement.
No, that's different. Quantum entanglement is over distance. This is, I'm talking about one single particle, one single atom, or one kind of I don't know, yeah, quantum particle that can actually fluctuate and become one and become unionized.
I can't. Well, this is the thing. I cannot conceive of that exactly how this works.
No, the negative and the positive are perfectly coincided with each other. So the positive pulses.
So they should cancel each other out then.
Yeah, the pulses positive.
Well, if you
pulses,
if they cancel each other out, then there's a non-existence issue.
no, they cancel each other out, but they actually produce a force that we haven't predicted yet.
Yeah,
that we
okay,
haven't
I
come
see what
up
you're
with
saying.
yet.
Yeah, it's
Right?
like the Large Hadron Collider. You know,
Yeah.
when you smash them together, yes, they cancel each other out, but they produce
A
things that
force
are
that we haven't discovered
things that are that are smaller and that we haven't discovered yet. I agree.
Right.
Yes, and I think that'll just go on for as long as, well, infinitely.
yet. You think so?
Well, there's gonna well, for an infinite amount, for an eternal amount of time, yes, I think so. But there's always energy, there's always vibration, there's always existence, there's always
What do you think
always
about?
something, there's always vibration, tangible. There's always
Well,
movement.
yeah,
Never
but what do you think
ever
about
ever is there ever the lack of vibration, energy, or movement.
yeah? Well, what do you think about quantum computing?
I think that's very fast. Very, very fast.
Okay.
I want to see it working. I want to see what it can do.
Well, it's already working.
Well,
Google has a quantum computer.
Yeah, but I haven't seen any. I haven't seen any examples of what an output from a quantum computer is compared to the output from a non-quantum computer.
Do you know how many algorithms
I
that
don't.
fucking quantum
No, I
computers
don't.
running at the moment?
No, I don't.
Sidney, I want to ask you a question. Okay, this is what I've experienced. Okay,
Why do I get asked a question when I ask a question myself?
listen. Have you ever thought about buying something, right, in your mind, right?
Okay.
And then when you go on YouTube, you see an advertisement for the item that you were thinking about.
No.
Has that ever happened to you?
No.
No,
No.
it's happened to me.
Well, okay. Well, then you saw Jesus, right? So
Several. No, not so Jesus. I'm talking about quantum computing here.
yeah. Well, you might as well tell me you saw Jesus.
No, that has nothing to do with Jesus. What the
You
fuck,
just
man?
said you were thinking about something, and then you went on YouTube and you saw an advertisement for it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then you might as well tell me you saw Jesus. You were thinking
No,
about
that's not-
Jesus, and then Jesus came to you in your bedroom or your shower or your whatever.
That's not true. I think there are algorithms that have gone through my search history on my YouTube page or my browser history, and they have determined that at this point in time, I will be thinking about buying a certain product online,
I did
and
know.
they will present me with those ads for that certain product. Algorithms are very powerful. Don't underestimate the power of algorithms.
I understand that, but algorithms are triggered by something. Now, it's possible that you did something.
Actually, free
It's
thinker makes a
possible.
good point.
It's possible. Listen to me. It's possible that you were on a program, you were on a website. You put in the term that you kind of thought of later on,
Yeah.
and it came up in a different, through Google and through data sharing. It came up in YouTube when you just happened to notice it.
Free thinker makes a good point. He says it has happened to him
Your
or
phone
her,
was spying on you. Exactly.
and it says it means that
Exactly.
your phone was spying on you.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. No, it could, because you have no idea how much information you give away that you don't know.
No, I mean that's true. That's true. So what I'm saying is that I'm talking about the time frame, right? I'm talking about I thought about this thing months ago, right? We're buying this thing, right? Months ago, and I might have typed in a search for this item months ago, but then I got ads like 6 months later, showing me these things that I want that I thought
No,
about.
you just said you thought about something and then you saw an ad, right? It's quite possible that these ads came once every 3 months. You've seen them, or once every 2 months, or once a month, and you see them, but because you haven't thought about them, you haven't noticed them. Now you're thinking about it somehow, and the ad appears, and then boom, there's an association.
Listen. This is not an
But
argument for
I want to address something that Gamby says about the ether. Jay basically says that the ether was disproven because dark matter and dark energy now are something that is around that was never around in the days where they were talking about the ether, because they knew nothing about space. So yeah, the ether is not a thing at all. It never was. It was never proven. So yeah, so the ether as a tangible a unit has been disproven.
What do you think about the quantum foam?
I'd say foam is probably something like
No, listen.
rabies.
Don't take foam literally. Like
Rabies.
foam.
I say
No.
rabies. Rabies. Because when you get bitten by the rabid raccoon, you get
Okay, listen.
rabies.
That's
You get
stupid,
foam
man.
around. You get foam around your lips. You do.
Don't take it literally. I'm just saying a quantum bubbling, like a bubbling of quantum energy.
Ah, the multiverse. I love it.
No, not a multiverse.
You just said bubbling.
Quantum energy, quantum foam, quantum
Yes,
bubbling.
and every bubble is a universe.
Quantum bubbling.
It's right.
It's not. It's not a
And universes come and into existence and disappear.
That's before universes develop. This is what physicists are saying.
All right, tell me about this quantum foam.
The quantum foam comes out of nothingness.
Well, what's that's like saying God has never not existed.
Well, do you know what nothingness is?
It's impossible. There's no such thing.
There's no such thing as nothing?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. It's
So
impossible. It's impossible because nothingness is lack of vibration, and it's impossible for there to be no vibration.
So if you take a square cube of space and you extract it,
space exists.
So if you take a cube of space out of space, right? And
How do you capture that?
Huh? And you pull it into Earth. Will there be something in that cube of space or nothing?
There's always something everywhere.
Well, space is a vacuum, right?
This energy. You think space is a vacuum, and that means that there's nothing in there. What about waves, microwaves, radio waves, all the waves across the whole spectrum of waves?
I didn't say take a sample.
That's
of
what
all
you'll
of
see
space.
in that box of space.
I did not say take a sample of all of space. I said take a sample of a cubic meter of space, right?
Yeah.
And extract it.
Yes.
And see what's in there.
It'll be full of wave forms or wave movement.
Really?
Yes.
What kind of waves?
Oh, right across the spectrum, from microwaves to gravitational waves. I don't know. Maybe smaller and longer, or I don't know.
I don't know about that, man, but I think. Do you think that it's possible to achieve a perfect vacuum?
You mean like artificially? Of course it is.
Yeah, artificially,
Obviously.
and yeah,
Yeah.
with absolutely nothing in it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, people do.
Absolutely nothing in it.
Well, you can't have absolutely nothing in it because there's always these waveforms that are flooding through everything.
So then you can't achieve it.
You can achieve what?
You can't achieve a perfect vacuum.
You just don't. No, yes, you can, because perfect vacuum is just taking out the air. You don't. Radio waves and microwaves going through the tube that has no air in it don't affect the tube.
Okay.
Or the vacuum procedure.
If you cover the enclosure with it's in a dark space, and you cover it with a box or something that blocks out the light, right? And there's no, and it's lead. It's made out of lead. The box that covers it is made of lead. Nothing can go through lead, right? Can you achieve a perfect vacuum?
Gravitational waves can go through lead.
No.
You know that very well. Gravitational waves can go through the whole planet.
The whole planet's not made of lead. The planet's made of iron. Mostly iron.
Yeah, well, the lead in the planet doesn't stop the gravitational waves.
Lead is like 0.3% of the planet.
It doesn't matter. There's no aberration in the gravitational wave because of the lead in the planet.
Gravitational waves cannot go through lead.
I dispute that.
I guarantee you. Go look it up.
I dispute that. I say gravitational waves go through everything.
I don't think so.
Well, I'm not a pastor, so I don't preach the Bible.
What? What the fuck are you talking about?
I don't know myself. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I'd have to have somebody who's got some scientific education, accreditation of some sort to answer that question. But I dispute your claim.
I don't. Why do you think they make refrigerators with lead in them?
I don't think they do.
They do.
I don't think they do.
Because they want to maximize the fucking refrigerant.
I don't think they make refrigerators with lead in them.
So what? So what's the best place to hide during a nuclear explosion?
You stick your head up your ass. That's probably the best way.
No, you go into your fridge like fucking Indiana Jones did.
Oh, okay. So before a nuclear explosion, watch a movie about that includes a nuclear explosion, and you learn how to hide away from it.
Did you see that? Did you see that movie?
I did not. No.
With Indiana Jones, it's a fucking popular movie.
I didn't see it.
The guy's there when the fucking nuclear explosion goes off.
I saw the very first one. I saw the first one, I think. And then
he's in the house.
I think I saw the second one. I sort of watched the second one. Didn't like it, and I've never watched anything since. How many have there been?
So he gets into the fridge, right? He closes the door. The fucking bomb goes off, and the fridge goes flying across the fucking county, right, the city, and he ends up like coming out of the fridge unscathed
because it's lead.
Because it's got lead in it.
Wow! And he survived the G-force and everything against the lead. Oh my God, he's super. He's so super strong.
Fucking amazing.
That skeleton that he has, his bones must be made of titanium.
Oh wait, yeah, we have an answer. It says gravitational waves from JG don't go through anything. They are fluctuations of space-time which permeate everything.
So then
what?
So then gravitational waves are not affected by lead.
Well, that's not what he said.
Well, Lead and
says
gravitational waves never meet.
Well, gravitational waves don't go through anything, so they
He
can't go
just
through
says
the
they're
lead,
fluctuations of space-time.
which permeate everything. What does that mean?
It means that the length of a gravitational wave is so long that it's almost impossible to measure. I think that's what it means, right, Jay?
Yeah, everything is right about neutrinos. Yeah.
There you go.
100
Neutrinos are everywhere
No,
all the
but
time.
neutrinos are not fucking gravitational waves.
So neutrinos can go through the entire planet Earth as if the Earth was not there at all. Okay.
Yeah.
I should have used neutrinos as my example, but like I said, I'm not a fucking scientist. So thank you, Freethinker. You saved the day for Sidney Winston.
Well, neutrinos can go through everything. I mean that.
Yeah, but you like, you're on the lead lobby for some reason or other.
Well, okay, maybe I'm confusing lead with radioactive waves. Maybe that, not gravitational waves.
Lead. You're confusing lead with waves. Lead is
No,
lead is,
radioactive waves,
I
not
understand
gravitational
that, but
waves.
lead is an element, and radioactive waves are how do you equate them?
Radioactive waves are like the energy you get from the sun, the radiation from the sun. So if you're in a lead container, in space, you will not get affected by the radioactivity of the sun.
Yeah, but
That's why.
the radioactivity of the sun is diminished by the atmosphere.
Well, that's why the astronauts' helmets were coated with a thin film of lead on their visors, so that they won't be affected by it.
Yeah, I think Jay's got a good handle on.
Oh, okay. X-ray waves can also not go through lead. That's why when you go for
Yeah,
X-ray,
true. They
right?
give you a lead vest.
Yeah.
Why are X-rays harmful, by the way?
Well, X-rays are part of the spectrum
I know, but
where
why are
the
they harmful? And what is the prevalence of X-rays kind of in in nature?
well, they vibrate at a different frequency.
What in nature produces X-rays?
What in nature produces X-rays?
Yeah.
I would say that's gonna have to be cosmic. It has to be out of this Earth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't think anything on this Earth except man-made machines can produce X-rays.
Interesting.
You have cosmic waves.
I don't know. I'd love to hear the answer. I'd love to hear sort of a discussion about that.
Yeah, you have gamma rays, you have X-rays, you have radio waves, you have all these other waveforms in space that the atmosphere filters out. Ultraviolet waves, light waves.
Well, ultraviolet rays. Ultraviolet rays. What is it that gives us sunburn? Which rays are?
It's the UVB. It's the ultraviolet.
So ultraviolet rays give us sunburn.
It's the UVA and UVB.
So ultraviolet gets through the atmosphere and gives us fucking sunburn. Where's the fucking protection from the atmosphere, for fuck's sake?
Well, you're not
I'm getting angry that the atmosphere doesn't protect us from ultraviolet rays.
No, because you're not supposed to live in the fucking sunny climates. You're not designed to do that.
Oh yeah.
With your white skin.
Oh yeah, right. That's right. Okay.
Yeah, all the black people should live in the south, and all the white people should live in the north.
No, they should all everybody who's sun resistant should live on the equator, all the way around the planet, right?
Yeah.
And then everybody who's white should live way up in the northern hemisphere, and then there'd be no contact.
Yeah. Hey, listen to what Freethinker says. It says lead metal is dense. It can be used against various high energy applications of radiation, including gamma rays, X-rays, and other types of nuclear radiation.
Because of the density of the
That's right.
metal itself. Interesting.
The metal itself, yeah.
So that would mean that it's also very heavy,
It is. Well, lead is obviously heavy.
because density conveys the heaviness.
Yes. That's why when you go fishing, you use lead sinkers. I mean, you can use iron sinkers as well, but I don't know why they choose lead.
Maybe because of the
'Cause-
water, because iron gets rusted by water, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's why lead doesn't rust. Yeah, I guess. So
You
there you
see-
go. Hey, science, fucking Bill Nye, the science fucking guy.
What about him?
Huh? We just learned about him right now.
Oh,
We
okay.
just, we just figured out why fucking sinkers aren't made out of iron.
There you go.
They're made-
And we didn't need Jesus.
Hey, and that's fucking deduction, man.
That's
We actually
induction.
deduced that.
That's induction.
That's induction. We actually induced. No, that's not induction.
Yes.
We didn't induce that. We deduced that.
No,
From
we
the
can't.
data, from the-
No, but our conclusion was certain, right?
No, but we deduced that from the
I'm
data.
asking you. Okay, if our
We
conclusion.
had data.
Hold
we
on.
had the
Yeah,
data.
well, just listen to me. Just listen to me. This is the question I got for you. Was our conclusion probable or certain?
Our conclusion of lead or iron. There were two propositions on the table.
What did
Right?
we conclude?
We concluded that we concluded that the reason why they use lead sinkers is because lead doesn't rust.
Okay,
Right?
now, right. Now, that conclusion, is that a probable conclusion or a certain conclusion?
It's a certain conclusion.
Then it's inductive.
How do you get there?
Because inductive reasoning results in certainty, and deductive reason results in probability.
Inductive.
No,
But inductive comes from the word induce.
hey, just put inductive into a Google search; it'll come up with a really quick explanation right away. And I'm not saying look it up, because you don't look it up. You just put that
But-
word into a Google search window.
Well, when I say that lead does not rust when it comes in contact with water,
Yes.
that's a deduction.
No, that's certainty. If indeed lead doesn't rust when it comes in contact with water, I don't know, but we know that iron rusts when it comes in contact with water.
Yeah.
And as Jay says, you can use anything heavier than water as a sinker.
I know that, but the
And
argument is
lead
whether
is heavier than water because it doesn't rust. Obviously.
the argument is whether it's inductive conclusion or deductive conclusion that we have come to.
Well, it's inductive because it's quite certain that they use lead rather than iron as a sinker, because iron rusts in water.
Huh?
Iron rusts in water.
No, because they deduced that iron rusts in water, therefore they chose lead.
Well, because it's economically, you don't have to replace your fucking sinkers all the time.
It's both as a deduction. It's in reverse. It's like you say that lead is the reason why that lead doesn't rust in water is because you've induced that, right? It's
No,
a certainty,
no.
right?
There's a certainty that lead doesn't rust in water. I'm assuming that.
But induction is not certainty.
No, let's forget about the induction now. Pure science. Does lead rust in water?
No.
Okay, so there you go. There's your certainty. Right?
Okay.
Okay. Now, why would they use lead sinkers rather than iron sinkers?
Because it lasts longer.
And that's certain.
Is it certain?
Yeah.
Well, if you're a fisherman, yeah.
Exactly. So there you go. That's inductive.
But on the other hand, if you look at the other scale, you have deduced that the reason why we don't use iron sinkers is because they rust, right? So that is deductive. You have deduced that based on evidence.
I understand that, but you now have left out the whole lead part of it, which is what we're talking about. Why lead and not iron?
What?
Okay, and
Well, you can use both, though.
but you just gave a reason for not using iron because you have to replace it more often.
Yeah, but both serves the function, right? They both sink, right?
Yeah, but historically we see more lead sinkers than iron sinkers.
But ultimately, when it comes to determining which is best, we use deduction.
No, because we know that iron sinkers are not as good as lead sinkers.
In order to determine which sinker is the best, right? If I give you a choice, if I say,
Jay
okay, listen,
said that anything can be used as a sinker that is heavier than water. Okay, right there and there.
okay, fine,
So
you can dry
so
up
it's
your
not a
iron
lead
sinker.
it's not a lead versus iron dichotomy.
It is.
It's not. You can use anything that's heavier than water.
It's an I don't give a shit. We're talking about two sinkers, one made of iron, one made of. We're not talking about fucking an apple that's heavier than water.
Apple
apple is
doesn't.
probably gonna
Apple's not
float.
heavy. Apple floats on water.
Okay, fine. Whatever is let's a fucking mug.
A mug
is heavier than
floats
water.
on
It's gonna
water.
sink. No, mug is gonna fucking sink. A ceramic mug.
Ceramic itself floats on water. If
No,
it's shaped
ceramic
into a
fucking
mug, it might fill up with water, but it'll go upside
Ceramic
down. It
sinks,
won't
man.
sink. It will not sink.
Cer-
No,
ceramic will
it'll
sink.
it'll go upside down. It won't sink. It'll float.
Oh my god, are you fucking serious?
Yes.
So what I'm saying is ultimately is that when we come to the conclusion of which is best, we deduce which is best. We come to a deduction of which is best, whether an iron sinker is best or a lead sinker is best. We deduce which is best.
Yeah, but this is a situation where we
We
need
don't
somebody
induce
else.
it.
We need
Induce
some
it-
people.
yeah,
we
you're
need-
right. Induction is finality. It's certain. It's finality.
Yes, but we
have a choice now. We have a choice between using an iron sinker or a lead sinker. We have deduced that the lead sinker is better than the iron sinker.
Also, it's cheaper.
That's a deduction. It's cheaper, yeah.
Way cheaper than, because there's way more lead sinkers available than iron sinkers. Because nobody's stupid enough to make an iron sinker and put it out for sale.
They'll make the rest of the sinker from iron, but not the fucking sinker. Yeah.
What?
So do you agree with me? Do you agree that that's a deductive
No, I do not.
conclusion?
I do and I don't, because I don't agree with you, but because it's such a wishy-washy what's the word? It's such a wishy-washy little subject that we're talking about. I don't even know if I just don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. A stainless steel sinker would be better. Yeah. Yeah. If you have the money.
And steel is with 2 E's, I think, because you're not stealing anything, or
Yeah.
are you? Well, I don't
That's
know.
okay. No problem. But yeah, steel would be very expensive as a sinker.
Really?
Well, not very expensive, but more expensive than lead or iron.
Yeah, I don't know. Is there any lead content in steel?
Particulates. Steel is mostly iron and carbon. There might be certain trace elements in there,
Well,
but
okay,
it's
iron,
mostly
iron I can understand. Uh, uh, but how do they introduce carbon?
they push carbon dioxide when they're forging it.
Okay. While
CO2.
it's really hot.
Yeah,
And then when they come out, it's steel. It comes out, it's steel because it's got the
Yeah.
carbon dioxide mixed with the iron. You
that's
say.
right.
So what is tempered
the-
steel?
Tempered steel.
Yeah.
I think it's when it's tempered steel is when it's folded multiple times. I think, and also introduced, and carbon is introduced at every folding. I'm not sure. You might have to double check on that. Tempered steel.
You should just say I pass on that question.
I pass, but
Yeah.
I know from
You
when they
can
make,
say you can admit that there's something you don't know.
well, yeah, I do. I admit I
there
don't
you
know
go.
what
No
tempered
problem.
steel is. There might be a modern version of tempered steel,
Yeah,
and
but
there
this
might be
is all now speculation, right?
and there might be an ancient version of tempered steel, right? So
There might be no version of tempered steel. I might have just made up the word.
there is tempered steel. I know that exists.
Yeah, well, yeah, but there might be Jesus might exist.
Holy fuck! Why are you bringing Jesus into this conversation, man?
I'm sorry, I've been brainwashed.
Hey, Thomas, are you awake or something? What's going on, man?
No,
We need
he's
some
gone.
input here.
He's done for the night.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
This guy just fell asleep. Does he always fall asleep on streams?
Only when he's tired, honestly.
Did you? Is
And
he still
also,
snoring?
our droning voices probably pushed him over the edge.
Is he still snoring?
He's
Do
muted.
you have him muted?
He's muted. Yeah. Tempered steel is an alloy of steel with aluminum and stuff
Oh.
mixed in.
Oh, okay.
That's where the God stuff is. God stuff mixed in.
Yeah. Hey, let me get a drink. Hold on.
Stuff is God.
Give me a second.
I've just debunked the God concept. No, wrong. I've just proven the God concept. Sorry, I made a mistake. God is stuff. God is stuff mixed into organisms, which makes humans. See? I could become a billionaire pastor, preacher.
The carbon in steel makes it so that it doesn't corrode. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, but are you sure it's carbon dioxide? I'm just trying to understand how chemically it all bonds or does how the bonds change.
Well, they do introduce carbon at one point during the manufacturing process to make the steel less, to make the iron less brittle and more rigid and more.
Okay, the
yeah.
tempering has got nothing to do with folding. Freethinkers put spelling it all out there for us.
Yeah, I thought it was folding, but it's not. The folding is a different process.
What do you mean all kinds of stuff like aggregate?
Well, obviously, there's going to be particulates in any kind of matter.
The only particulates. Whenever you say particulates, I think of Darth Dawkins and his particulates.
Yeah.
Stupid bastard.
What the fuck, man? That guy, I don't know.
But you know what? I mean, he's obviously living rent-free in our heads if we bring him up every fucking 5 minutes.
I know. Seriously, I think he's done. I think he's done.
What makes you say
I don't know what. he's just, yeah, I think that he's gone 10 years now with the same fucking bullshit argument.
Mm-hmm.
I think he probably has met his match with atheists that have actually become smart enough to actually counteract those arguments, right?
You know who I think destroyed him? One person, J.L. Warren. J.L. Warren came along and hit Darth Dawkins like a Mack truck, smeared him all over the road. Ever since that day, Darth Dawkins was done.
Does J.L. Warren have this on his channel?
Yes, he does. Bridge the Divide is the channel.
Yeah. I gotta watch that. But I think that
I definitely recommend it.
I think that Tom Rabbit did a good job, and also Jack Anstrike, and who else? No, that's all I can.
You
think
know
of
who
right
else
now.
did? That Australian guy, Poppy or something. What was his name?
Australian guy? I don't know.
Yeah. I can't remember his name. Dr. something. Graham Oppy. That was his name. He did a great job.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Lawrence Krauss did a great job. Everybody that has come up against Darth Dawkins has done a great job of debunking his bullshit. Every single one of them.
Yeah, Jack Anstrike was good, man.
Jack Geiger is still he's still around, causing causing Darth Dawkins sleepless
Well,
nights.
yeah, the reason why I think is because it actually goes back after Darth, and he actually pursues the argument instead of letting it go. You know what I mean?
Gus is another one that destroyed Darth. 100%, I agree. I have a recording of that somewhere. Like he went on like for 45 minutes or something.
Do you know that these precept arguments were actually developed in like the 70s and the 80s by Van Til and Bonson?
Yep.
This guy's holy fuck, man.
That's all he does. He's a parrot. He just parrots them.
Holy shit, that's fucking hilarious.
Isn't it? That's why he's such a Ozymandias. Yeah.
Yeah, Ozymandias as well, yeah.
He really got an Alex Malpass. Everybody,
Yeah.
like nobody has been defeated by Darth Dawkins.
I mean, his argument is getting old, and he's being relegated to these fucking these online or these Discord servers and these Clubhouse servers, like where he's trying to convert these newcomers. You know what I mean?
He's a has-been. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. Yes, I think that his age will catch up with him, and he will just I think he's come to the conclusion where
he'll just die out.
That's it. Yeah.
He'll just die out from old age.
I've tried hard enough, Jesus. Hello, Allah.
I wonder if he'll have a big switch and come back as something else. Well, he's a performance artist, right? So once his shtick isn't popular anymore, he's got to come up with a different character.
I think some theists that once they've been in theism for a very long time, I'm talking about half their life, they cannot live without a God. So then they switch to a different kind of God. They cannot fathom atheism or non-belief, or they cannot come to that thing, and they have to find some kind of meaning, something that gives them purpose in their life, right? And I think there are some theists that do that. They just can't let go, and that's what I call reprobate theists.
Yeah.
Reprobates.
So how long do you think a live stream hangout should go? We've been going for just over 2 hours now. I suggest that it's
Yeah.
probably time to say that's long enough.
Yeah, it is. Is this live? Is this live still?
Right? Yes. But I'm
Well, yeah, it is.
gonna end it.
Yeah, if we don't have anybody else coming in, so let's end it. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just I'll let it run for a couple of minutes so that we can sort of, if you want to say anything, you can before you go.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we're not going to go anywhere. The room will still be open. It'll just won't be live streamed. So if anybody wants to come in, still join. Now's the time, at least to get me to accept you, because afterwards I might go and get something to eat. I mean, throw something in the oven, and I might not be available to let you in. So, good night, everybody. Thank you for watching. It's always a pleasure to spend time with you, because you guys are like so cool.